Yo ho ho, welcome back to the worm. My brain is getting complexicated out here. Just yesterday I was trying to figure out what project I want to do next. We got the cabin all wired up, we got the flashing on the legs. I mean, the cabin's kind of done, except for the ceiling. I need to do the ceiling. The weather just warmed up. It was like 76 yesterday and I thought I was gonna friggin' die. I'm ready for winter. I mean, it's barely maybe the beginning. Yeah, it's about the beginning of summer right now. And I freaking can't take the heat anymore. So Tito and I were talking. I got this great idea for a project. It'd be pretty easy, really fun. I got that one giant pine log back here that now that I have the new big chainsaw mill, I can actually do something with it. I want to take a giant slab out of it, like, I don't know, as heavy as well, I'll show you what I want to do with it. And we'll kind of think through the weight. When the weather sucks and Tito's here, we'll sit in here in the evening. We kick back in the old love seat, watch a movie on the iPad. He's got a Bluetooth speaker. But the problem, yeah, it's a real problem. When you have your feet up like this and you kick back, there's no place to put the iPad. So we were thinking, how would you make a coffee table that didn't take up a bunch of floor space, that you could put right over top of you, like over your lap where you'd kind of want a table. And as we were thinking about it, I'm kicked back staring at the ceiling and I thought, you know, we could make a huge slab out of that pine log, hang it from the ceiling on pulleys, probably have to be like a block and tackle system, make it so it lowers down and floats right over top of here. But I don't want to do anything else on the ceiling until I get the ceiling finished. And now that it's warm enough, I've got enough cedar logs, I think, stacked up. I can mill them up and I can finish the ceiling. However, I do still want to take the whole cabin apart and put all these wall boards through the planer. And the problem is, if I put the ceiling up, the wall boards are tucked behind the ceiling boards. So in order to do the walls, I'd have to take the ceiling down too, then the walls and the furniture, everything. So it just got really complicated, you know? I want to make a hanging coffee table, can't do that till the ceiling's done, can't do that until the walls are done, can't do anything with the walls. Either way, I've got to get out of here, and it's way too warm anyway, so I'm going to set up my tent. But in order to set up my tent, I gotta fix that tent deck. Seriously, these birds are almost deafening for the first hour or two of the day. You know, nature's a bit much. So I think I've shown you this before. This foot that supports the stairs is total garbage. Not holding anything up. Also, the bark never got taken off the frame. Also, since I did this all like right after I moved out here, I didn't even take the bark off the boards when we chainsaw milled them up. And because I didn't know what I was doing when I built this thing from logs, this is the first thing I ever built out of logs with a chainsaw. I think this frame is too thin for the span. That was a foot underneath there that just fell over eventually. I think I need to put some concrete pads in there. So maybe one under here, definitely one under the middle of this thing because there's a big sag in it. That's a stump, so that's super strong. That's a stump, and the other corner's a stump. In between, my guess is it's not even sitting on this either. Nope. So here's an interesting thing I didn't think about at the time. When you do this Lincoln log style building, you really don't want to cut too deep into the support log because you'll make it so the whole log sags. That's holding up the weight of everything. Really, I should have cut this way back. Just left a little bit sticking out to hang on to here and barely made a notch out of here. Anyway, it is what it is. This should, yeah, this should all be peeled. You can see all these little tiny holes in it, so there are bugs in there. Anyway, lots to do. Hopefully I can do it in a couple days. Kind of in a hurry though. Sarah's gonna be here in a few minutes. She's escaping downstate where it's in the mid 90s, I think. Gonna come up here for, I don't know, several days. We'll probably sleep in the gazebo where it's cool. But I think I'm just going to start tearing this thing apart, and then we'll see what we have to do to rebuild it. 2-3 days from now, we'll have this put together, and I can move back into my tent. Then we can tear the we can tear my brand new cabin completely apart. Just yesterday, I noticed this little stack of boards here, and I couldn't figure out what they were from. I looked at them. There's a little bit of concrete on here. So these are actually the forms that I made to do the cabin feet. And just the last few days, Tito was down working on his cabin again. He got all the floor frame up, but he used my old forms. He knocked them back together and we poured concrete in them to make the feet for his cabin so we could run down there and see what condition the forms are in. They might still be on the concrete. I don't know. We could knock them off of there. I haven't seen Tito's work from the last couple days, so let's go down there and see what he's got done. Whoa, check that out. Holy cow. That looks sweet. And the forms are sitting there for me. He must have known I was coming. Wow, that sucker is beastly. Holy moly. That's got to be 2x18 or something. Maybe 2x16, back up to 2x18. That is really cool. Dude's making progress. That's all the aspen we milled up, I guess it was still winter time, and stacked over here. I do like the garden right here, but that's where you get ticks. I think it's gonna have to be trimmed down this year. I don't know how many times you can use these to pour concrete, but we'll keep pushing it. Look at that, perfect. I'm just remembering when I built this, I did, so if the board slopes this way and this way, I then put the next one the opposite, so you've got these two angles that kind of fit together here. So when I take all this apart and pull all that bark out, I think I'm going to do the old chop and scooch, which it looks like I did a little bit, but clearly I scoot all these over like 20 courses over. I'm not going to have enough lumber. So maybe I'll take off a triangle, stack them all together, and then when I put them back on, let's see. Yeah, we're gonna have to scoot them all that way. They'll all be a little bit too long. And then I'll probably just have to put one more board on the edge. We can go mill that up, or maybe I can find it in my lumber pile. Something tells me that's not gonna completely, oh, you know why that's not gonna work? Because these seams like right here will all be pushed in so they won't line up right. Maybe we take them off, fix the frame, put them back on right where they were, and then just have some decent sized cracks in there. I guess that wouldn't matter too much. Yeah, again, a ringworm archaeologist could tell a lot from the way this is put together. It's clearly the first thing some dude built with a chainsaw, and he also didn't expect to be out here very long. These are coated 16 penny nails, like for framing walls and ceilings and houses. Pretty rusty already. It's crazy to think it was only 3 years ago that we built this. This is totally different. Yeah, so when we built this deck, the only thing that was here is the lean-to. I think we built the lean-to, and then a short time later made this. And then we built Tito's deck out of pallets, which is still over there. It's kind of amazing what you can do almost completely by yourself in a few years, but it's also kind of amazing that even going full at it, all your energy, all the daylight hours, that this is all you can do. This is as far as you can get. Oh man, I was worried about what kind of garbage I'm gonna find under here. There's a lot of stuff growing. I am not gonna replace this whole thing though. Yeah, this is a mess. Oh wow, it's not just the bark either. I was hoping I could just peel the bark off. Oh, it's wet, like crazy wet. It's solid on the inside, but the first half inch is not good. This looks like the same. I don't know if this is fir or spruce. I don't know if this is fir or spruce. If you come down to this one, this is cedar. Bark comes right off, and the wood is totally solid. Wish I'd done this all out of cedar. I guess no matter what, I gotta take all the boards off, so do that and then do some figuring. Wish Sarah was here. She would like pulling these nails. Bark comes off easy from those. Check that out too. That was way back before I had a good chain sharpener or the right chains. I think we were using full chisel chains and didn't realize how often you had to sharpen them. So you just get in there, use it for a little bit, it get dull, and then just work your way through. If you guys ever chainsaw mill and you have to do something like that, your chain is way too dull. And it's really worth just buying milling chains. They you can get through a lot more wood before you have to sharpen them. This is a freaking disaster. Well, that's a good thing. These are super fat floorboards. I think these are 1.5 inches. It's a good thing they were there and they were that thick, or this whole thing probably would have caved in by now. I also found these boards come off quite easily just with a crowbar, because I put them in with maybe those are 2-inch nails, 2.5 at most. Maybe they're 2.5. Yeah, threw a 1.5-inch board into a log frame with the bark on it, so they were barely holding anything. Oh, I guess we'll have to replace that one. Good thing is, if I remember right, these aren't attached. Yeah, so it'd be really easy to replace a couple of these if we need to. See that bounce? I think it's still solid enough. I think I'm just going to put a foot right underneath here, peel this and put a foot under there. I mean, again, how long am I going to be living out here? I think if this is peeled and it has feet, it'll last another 5 years. Am I still going to be living in a tent all summer in 5 years? Yeah, probably. I'm going to pour concrete for this side, and while it's hardening I'll start taking the boards off the other side, peel the logs. By then I should be able to just take these forms over there. I got to think by tomorrow morning it would be hard enough to at least take the forms off. And that's why I don't dig a well. Yet. Wow, nice piece of dirt there. I'm kind of thinking I should just rip down this deck completely and put my well right here. That is the nicest hole I've dug. Only hit 2 giant rocks, but I got them out. Yeah, hit a few roots. I think that'll be all right though. That's 3. Well, I think I am going to have to put this half together first before I take the other half apart, because this is all just floating on stumps and log bits. If I take it all apart, I don't think I'll be able to get it back together right. You know, if you move one log over a little bit this way, a few inches, then the other corner is going to be in the wrong spot. So let's put it back together, and we get to use the jack. Do a 2-footer. That one's not doing anything, but we can use that. Oh yeah. See what it looks like under there. That's a cedar log sitting right on the ground, no rot at all. Yeah, that's good. Ruby, are you here to help? What's your plan? She doesn't like loud noises, so she's not going to like this job. Found all sorts of slave labor around here. So back up against the problem of trying to refit these on here. Now that the bark is gone from in between the boards, so like there was a bunch of bark here, you can only slide it so close. And what I just realized is because I did the chop and scooch, you can see I nicked all the top of these, like cutting through the boards with the chainsaw. And at least that gives me some idea where to line this back up. So I think I'm gonna lay them all on here, just get them out there on order, and then we can go through and scooch them right up to those chainsaw lines. I noticed some of those chop and scooches are pretty deep. That's an accident. Like that one, I got a little carried away. I mean, sometimes when you're up here, if you can't see through, you can't really tell when you're hitting these. You just try not to jam it too much into the log. Well, I figured out how to twist them all a little bit and refit them so I could shove them together. Now we don't have huge cracks. And this is the amount of board feet that we lost going sideways. You can see there too. Don't pay no attention to how deep that cut is. That's how it grew. So we only lost that much. So when you put this on, it used to hang over here. Now it doesn't. Who cares? We don't even need to add another board. Oh, she's back out. She wants to lay in the sun, I bet.
Oh.
Hey, creepy. You too cold? It's way too hot out here already. We're gonna quit in a minute. It's supposed to be somewhere in the 80s, and Ruby's panting away, laying right in the sun. She's you know. Stinky mouth. You know how to get dirty, that's for sure. I'm getting about 3 to 4 hours a day on this thing. And then Sarah and I have been going down to the gazebo like noon, 1 o'clock, and just hanging out in there all day, editing videos, reading, whatever. Also, the frickin' bugs are making me nuts. But Sarah's leaving tomorrow, and I think the temperature is supposed to be back down in the 70s so I can get this finished. But I don't know. I think it might be age. Am I getting old? I might be. I'm probably getting old. Getting a little freaked out. We could smell smoke last night, and it's all hazy, and it's been hot and dry for quite a while. I'm hoping the worm's not going to burn down soon. So I think what we got to do is put a foot here. Unfortunately, there's a big rock there, but we'll fit something in. And then I'm going to put one on that side, but really the low spot in all this, I look at it now, I think the weight over time, like with snow load and everything, it's kind of pushed this down in. So I'm thinking maybe we'll put a foot about where that log is. And I think I could scoot that foot over on the pad, put a second one there, and then I might run a log right underneath the middle of this to support them. Well, just ran Sarah down to the car. She's out of here. I thought she was going to be in the video a bunch more, but since we just hunkered down in the gazebo, not much of a video there. Looking for a good something to listen to. I just found a 20-hour book on Doc Holliday. That sounds cool. Let's try that out. I love me a 20-hour book. There it is. Oh my gosh, that's still a heavy freaking log. It's like aspen with some bark on it. Won't be able to put this together until tomorrow when that sets up, but let's see if we can scoot this thing in. Then we can find another stump. Actually, we can scoot it off this way too, can't we? Oh, we got plenty of space. Then you just twist the little valve and set your summer home right down. So ideally, wow, 13 footer. I mean, if we don't have that, I guess it's alright if it just goes to there. I don't know, let's see what we got in the junk pile. Yeah, we got a fir log there that's been there for a season or two. It's probably got a lot of bugs in it, but I mean, it'd be like all the rest of these. Let's take a peek inside. Ooh, yeah, there's some really big holes in this. Definitely bugs in there. Yeah, I mean, it looks like all the rest of the deck. It's definitely solid. Plus, it's got lots of nice little sap pockets that still haven't crystallized, so that'll be nice to get on the inside of my pants. Got this twisted and shifted around. I think that's as good as it's going to get. So, let's see where the pad is. Got it over as far as I can go so that this still touches here. We'll get support all the way to the end. You can see they're a little bit floaty there, and that one's touching. So I think I'm going to trim that one out, the end one out, just maybe a 1/2 inch on each one. was thinking maybe I'd put a little flat spot on this too to set the stump. But as long as it can't roll around, I guess it doesn't really need to be notched. I'll notch it. Just notch it when you can. Oh, that's perfect. And we didn't have to pour an extra pad for it. I got these just barely floating, so that worked out great. That'll probably take some of the sag out of the middle after I put all the weight back on it. Oh, plus we still got to put a foot underneath that, so it'll lift that up a little bit, take the sag out of that end as well. Just kind of looking around trying to find a stump. Oh, maybe this guy would work. I'm looking for something with a real wide base on it. I like to leave these stumps around. They're just kind of useful in all sorts of ways. They make great little tables. Actually, that's what most of them get used for, is tables, or like if I have to, I don't know, rip a board or something with a chainsaw, you can just, dog the board down to a stump. That's why if you look around, there are lots of sets of 2 stumps. These 2 stumps got used for making the entire man cave. All the boards I ripped, I think, were on those stumps. In the winter, when I was staying in here, I always set stuff on this, like I came out to do my dishes or something. I don't really use that one. Maybe we could take that. That'd be good because it's leaned back, so it'll catch the log, the edge of the frame, but I could still cut this out at an angle and put the step on it. Let's see, we need about 16 and a half. We can trim it down. Oh, perfect. So let's see if we can trim this out and make it level with the other one. I think we done it. Now we got to figure out how to get these boards back on it. This one's going to be a little trickier, more tricklier. I'm kind of back to either probably having to leave gaps or remill a whole bunch of boards. Well, who knows? Let's throw them on and see what happens. Actually, I have to go through and look for high spots in these because there was bark on here. So once you peel the bark, you notice all these little stubs stick up. Well, I decided I'm putting them all back right in the same spot, using the same nail holes and everything. There'll be some gaps in here, and if for some reason, unforeseen reason, it's a problem, I'll just rip all these off and have to make new floorboards. But there's no juggling them around. If they were full length, it would be different, but none of them are, so they're just not going to line up right. Oh, that was real loud on the ear holes. Whew. Well, you can definitely tell where the tent's been sitting for a couple years. Can you tell? Well, this one busted coming off, so I guess we'll have to find another 1.5 by something. Something like that. Yeah, I remember building this. This got kind of weird. It's strange there's nothing for it to sit on there. Yeah, that's a weird corner because we had to shift all those in. Let's see if we can make this sit on here a little bit. Not much. Yeah, I can't imagine what it would have been like if I took all of this apart, the entire deck, and then tried to put it back together, because this didn't move and the other end didn't move. But still, look at this. It's not really sitting on anything, so we're gonna have to do a little trim in here. Well, I couldn't find any 1.5 inch cedar. I just found pine, but some of these boards in here are aspen and they're still fine. I mean, a little cracked up, but they're not rotting or anything. So let's try a chunk of pine too. We got to have the trifecta here. I will say that looks pretty good. There's no dish in it anymore. Don't know if that's seeable on the camera, but there used to be a big hole right here. And every time you walked on it, it would bounce around. No more bounce. Yeah, that sucker's solid. That's great. There are going to be some giant gaps. There's some that are about 1 inch, maybe even a little bit more. Yeah, like that one there is maybe 1.5 inches, but I don't think I'm going to fall through it or anything. It's not like I ever walk around here with bare feet, so yeah, I'm very happy with this. I'm gonna nail her down. All I have are some 3.5-inch box nails. Not the best, but they're galvanized and at least they're longer than the crap I used before. Whew. Well, it feels nice to be out here working today. This is one of those weird projects where it's not that I dislike doing it. There's just you know, I get the kicks out of figuring stuff out, not just like hammering something back together. And clearly I could have taken another, well, a good week if I needed to cut trees and mill everything, but I don't know if it would have been worth the effort just to have cracks that are smaller on here. I just don't feel like it would have been. But I tell you what, it's really ugly and it's really sturdy. Look at this thing. That's like a friggin' rock. Look at that, my steps are back to level. That foot and step holder worked out great. I kind of like the look of this one too. The support that's sticking out the end. I don't know how much it's holding up out here, but I jumped on this edge too and it didn't bounce much. I gotta say, I'm all of a sudden getting really excited to tear the cabin apart. Is this the one I was using? I have way too many tents. What was the last one I was using? Was it a yellow one? I thought it was gray, like a big gray. Oh, there it is. I think this is a 1.5 man. This is a 4-man living tent. That's the one. I was really confused for a minute, and then I remembered. Anybody possibly remember what I put in this tent when I rolled it up for the winter? Look what just fell out. 20 bucks. I do stuff like that every now and then, where you ever get to a point where you like something's coming up, but you just can't imagine that you'll ever get there, like a vacation or something. I can't quite remember, but when I rolled this up, I think that was my thought. It was the beginning winter. I was like, man, I can't imagine it's ever going to be summer again, and I'm going to be unrolling this thing. So I left myself money for a little treat if I ever actually made it there. I think this is going towards ice cream. I gotta say, I'm a little bit confused though. I've used so many different tents since I've been out here. The ones I use in the summer, they only last maybe a summer and a half, and the sun just eats through the rain fly. This thing is not that much bug net. I'm kind of surprised I would be using this for a summer tent. Was I using this for a winter tent? Well, I guess I can just set it up for now. It would be interesting to know if we went back through all the videos and see how many tents I've used since I've been out here. I bet it's 7 or 8 maybe. There was one I returned. I was thinking this was a gray top tent. Maybe I sent that back, or maybe it got destroyed. See, you should never move into a cabin because then you can't keep your tent straight. You gotta be consistent in your tent living. Yeah, geez, these are like brand new. I honestly have no recollection of this tent at all. Very strange. When this thing cooks, I definitely will not get something as big as this. Now that the winters are in the cabin and the summers, like when Sarah comes here and you kind of needed a bigger tent, we just sleep in the gazebo. So I'll probably go back to like a 2-man tent for me for the summer. It's just that for the first couple years, I had to put everything in here or in those Tupperware buckets underneath the deck here because there was no man cave, there was no cabin. I guess the lean-to was here. It was some tough living. It was real tough. No, it wasn't. Now that I'm thinking of it, this might be the longest I've ever gone in my adult life without sleeping in a tent. I don't think I've been in a tent all winter long. I bet it's been like 6 or 8 months. Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone this long, which is weird because I'm still out here in the woods. See? Cabins ruin everything. I just love sleeping in tents, especially when the weather's like this. You know, it's kind of a warm evening. I like when the temperature dips overnight or when the bugs are really bad. Because, you know, mosquitoes do get in the cabin when you open the door every now and then. Every night there's one in the cabin and it makes me crazy. whichever part of my body's not in the sleeping bag, like my hands or my face or something, always gets bit up by mosquitoes. And I love, right now the mosquitoes are so bad that at night you can hear the entire forest humming. I pointed it out to Sarah when we were staying in the gazebo. She's like, what, you hear mosquitoes? I was like, listen to the background. And it's just this woo, like the whole forest is trying to get you. And I love that when you're in a tent. Take a shower at night, get nice and clean, get in the tent, unzip everything, let the air go through it. I liked sleeping in tents when I was 10 years old, and I still love it now. And the cool thing is, if the weather gets really gnarly now, I've had some nights in the tent in the last few years that were a little bit scary, you know, where trees are falling down all around you, and that freaks me out being in a tent, because that is one of the easiest ways to get killed in the woods, is getting smushed by a tree falling. So on those nights, I can go in the cabin now. It's the best of all worlds. Oh yeah, baby, back in the tent. I love it. And remember my headphones for my morning jams. Oh, see, isn't this so much better? You can hear the wind, you can smell the forest. And about 4:45 tomorrow morning, the birds will wake me up. They are a little bit too loud in my opinion, but I guess I'm gonna let it slide just this once. Oh, I forgot my book. Well, we all have problems. So I'll get up tomorrow, have my breakfast, and then start tearing the cabin apart, I think. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good year. It's probably the morning. You guys are drinking coffee right now. Oh, I still have to sleep. Sleeping's so boring. Peace.